What's up, everybody? Welcome to another video in the Ideal Auto Factory. Hope you're having a great day. It's a blessing to be alive. Today's video is going to be all about this MST RTR. We're going to dive a little deeper in there and we're going to get some adjustable turnbuckles put on. So keep God first. Let's get into this video. Now, when it comes to having an MST RTR, this is far from that. We have cantilever system here put on by yours truly, utilizing the Unforeseen NGE, pretty much whole front bulkhead sort of system here. Then there's the setup that I put back here, put the motor up high, put the ESC here instead of in the rear, gyro, receiver, and then the rest is pretty much stock. So there goes the turnbuckle already installed on the steering links here. That's to give some adjustability, because if you look, that full lock to lock is a little better than stock. When I say better, that's an opinion. Better meaning I like a more closed Ackerman, not an open Ackerman. And then in the front, more so a straight toe, as little toe as possible in the front. Now, with this front end being kind of set and forget, I think I'm going to just use the turnbuckles here and install them right there for the top, so you can adjust the camber in the front. But in the rear, definitely want to be able to adjust camber depending on what surface you're running on, the camber wear, and also just your preference on how fast or slow you're going next to your opponent or tandem buddy. This needs to be adjustable. So let's go ahead and change those. Instead of just using parts from the Unforeseen, I have opted to use one of my unused overdose ball cups here. It's a very long one, so this whole thing can reach. And I've also noted that these are 4.8 millimeter ball cups. MST is on 4.8 millimeter ball studs, so it all should just bolt right up, or pop right in, I should say. I'm just going to take this one off with a little twist. Take that side off. That is a screw right there, so let me take that off. So I guess I need to have it loose enough. You know what? I'm going to put the other side on this. Alright, that's way better. Way more clearance there. So it should act just like it did before. Shout out to having a power tool here. Now let's check the length versus stock. Okay, a little longer. So we're going to shorten that up here. See our length now. That's close enough for me. Let's get it installed. You just got to pop it in. Done. Well, this just got a little tricky because there's a lot of stuff over here. Comes off. Kind of glad this is happening, because now I'm starting to see maybe this motor mount wasn't installed all the way. This screw is loose. It's not the right screw head there. I gotta remove this guy a little bit. Yep, that's what it is. So that guy's removed. This whole section is now out of the way. Now I can get to this little guy. This is the screw part, so depending on where you put it back here on one of these adjustable holes there, depends on which one gets threaded in. So you can't lose this piece. That'd be a bad day. Now, as I'm putting this stuff back into its rightful place, I wanted to bring up, whether there's a disadvantage to putting adjustable links on your chassis, and I don't really see any. If I had to find any disadvantages. One would be that you don't have as much durability in your chassis. So your chassis could hit a wall and bend one of these, but you eliminate that by going with a steel turnbuckle set. The aluminum ones, I don't recommend. They may be good looking, but they don't provide the durability that other ones do. Aluminum can break pretty easy. Steel, not so much. So steel is definitely the way to go. We'll put a screw right there. Let's go right there. Make sure I'm. So there needs to be a washer in there. Otherwise, this thing's gonna fly off. We'll go with it. Alright, so washer's on. Everything is bolted up correctly. We got adjustable camber in the rear now, and it feels just exactly the same. Nothing binding. And checking that camber, looks to be pretty normal to me. So it's adjustable now in the rear. Now let's move to the front and do the same thing with these. Now I'm going to take this whole upper half, this ball stud out, unscrew it. And now that I've done that, move that out the way, you see I got all this clearance. Now, one cool thing to note is being able to mimic exactly what we just took off. So that space, these spacers are going to pay off here in a few. So hold on to your spacers, don't get rid of them. Got these two coming off. Alright, let me get this off, I'll be back. Two nuts sandwiched together on these threads, and they'll come off. Now it should be at a certain point, you just yep. And now we're going to put that turnbuckle in. I'll keep it simple. We're going to go in the same way we came out. So regular thread, threading it in that same way, all the way. And now let's check spacers once we get this one on. Alright, so spacer, got one spacer. We are indeed shorter than we were, so it should have more camber. Is that what we want? I don't know yet, but more camber can be had now. You just take your spacer off and do it that way too. At least this way you get quick adjustments, and fine tuning is not as difficult. That's what it looks like. Now I'm going to do the other side same way. Make sure I just screw it in regular way, clockwise into there. Alright, I'll be back when it's all installed. Alright, task is complete there. We have turnbuckles on here and back there. Able to adjust camber now for both the front and the rear suspension. Right now, I do have a problem with the Ackerman. The wheel that's leading the drift, the lead wheel, is not turning more than the trailing wheel. That's not good. So I'm going to basically give myself a little more toe here by shortening the steering link. Yep. If you want more toe out, you can go for it. Let's give it a drive. The screw is not on correctly. It's all chewed up. Probably from the screw being loose. This is what works for that. I just had it. Now mind you, I just had a spacer laying around. So So that's the spacer on there now. And now I found a larger screw. Before, after, much longer. Spacer goes on, kind of arched this way. That's seated. Alright, nothing's wrong now. We're fully screwed on, everything's right. Now that was an unforeseen moment, but I'm glad it happened. Now the one thing I didn't mention was I did adjust the ball diff in here. I have videos on the ball diff already, but I adjusted it because it was too tight. There was no give at all. It was basically a spool, and now it has forgiveness when you want to stop going. And then of course it still locks as much as it's supposed to when you need it to, but it's a very forgiving chassis now, a lot smoother. So I've just been enjoying driving it more, and it's working well. Now the car is driving way better now, a lot smoother, a lot less jittery, a lot less snappy, and more of a fluid feel to the chassis, to the car, to everything in general about it. And that's dialing in the front camber, dialing in the front toe. And in the rear it has, I think, -1 degree of toe. With that toe, I cannot change that. That's part of the suspension mount adjustability, and there's none there, so I have to leave that the same. One final thing I want to do, I just want to get inside of this chassis, get inside of this ESC and see the tune on it, and then from there basically change a few settings and leave it there, because I just want the car to be just a little bit more smoother and a little bit more forgiving on the throttle. Okay, so throttle rate control, I believe I have mine set there. Linear, neutral range is 5%, that's fine. Initial throttle force is good. 16K softening value. Yep. It's all there. Linear. Boost timing 10 degrees. Let's run boost. About 6,500. About 3,800. And then got the instant turbo timing. Let's do the 21 degrees instead of instant everything. I think I want that throttle rate to be at an 8. And I know what all these settings are doing, so let's save. Let's turn it off. All right, and that's pretty much it. The car runs just smooth enough for me. I'm pretty sure the driver, the owner of the car, can change it up and make it all punchy and all that other stuff, but I wanted something smooth, something user-friendly, and something hard to spin out. What I ended up doing with these settings was I turned down the horsepower, but I also turned down the overall wheel speed. So with throttle rate control, taking it from a 10 to an 8, that basically took a little bit of the punch away. And then when I went into the boost and I lowered the RPM range, so I went to boost starting at a lower spot and then ending at a lower spot, the max RPMs were lowered overall. And then with the turbo, instead of it instantly kicking on, I had that to be a little smoother as well by taking the degrees of increase down to 21 degrees. And overall, the chassis is just smoother. There's no really snappiness to it right now. I think that'll come over time. You know, when you learn, you can make it more aggressive. But for now, it's right in a medium spot. I'm not saying it's going to perform like some $1 million car or not. I mean, I don't think $1 million is going to make it perform that much better anyway. But what I'm getting at is the settings that I changed was to kind of just calm the chassis down a little bit. You know, when you put turbo and you have so much punchiness to the chassis, it upsets the chassis a lot. With it being smoother, with all the RPMs and everything kind of working together, and you being smoother on the throttle, your chassis doesn't upset itself, and therefore it's happy. It wants to drift. So that's going to do it for today's video. What do? We changed the camber. Basically, we changed the camber from fixed to adjustable on the rear and the front. Then from there, I changed the ESC settings to make the chassis a little more smoother. And now this MST RTR is that much better than it was before. And then stay tuned for the next video, because we're going to be installing, or painting I should say, another body. And that body is going to go on this MST chassis, and later on the owner's going to put a livery on it and all this other stuff. So thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and keep God first. Peace.